Connecting and done. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to WAYPN, the weekly. Hello?
The weekly WAYPN.
You are not with me at
I'm
all.
trying to see the things, pay attention to the thing.
Oi. Try and be with
Okay.
me at least for 1 second of your life.
Excuse me.
Let's try again.
Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Weekly WAYPN. I'm Cal.
And I'm Sunny.
AKA
Henry and Sangita.
Okay, I hope you guys have been having a fantastic week, and I hope you guys enjoy this little
ditty.
ditty.
Oh, sorry. Joking. But you see, no one's heard this joke because I only sent the link now. Because you're giving me a hard time.
You are the worst.
Thanks.
All right, say hello in the chat if you would like to participate, and if you are one of our previous guests, or if you know us on Discord, we will be able to bring you on right away.
Yes.
But other than that, let's start out. So, unfortunately, we start off with our cancelled guest, which was going to be James, but he really did put in a big effort to come along, but things went a little wrong.
Yeah. Well, sorry, just to double check, have we done?
I thought
have, right?
no, I think that one's next.
Well, this is the previous one.
Yeah.
This is.
Well, that's not what it says on this computer. I don't know why.
Let me double check to see if I'm on new post. Yep. Facebook. Anyway.
I'm very glad that Sunny's here. She's a bit lost because we're doing a very, very big video this week. So, would you like to read out for us?
Blood for the blood god. Today has been a lot of red painting. Wanting to say I am loving having this group. It removes so much stress being able to post working in progress and get feedback. I had not planned on getting so much of Iron Man done. It was one of those nights I had not planned on. Sorry, I think I'm reading the same line again. It was one of those nights you sit down to paint a little, and before you notice, it was 3 hours later, and I was doing the wash.
Yeah, no, those are usually the good times when you're just like,
it's true.
Oh, I've finished everything. Like, those are the ones where I'm usually on a phone call with someone or a Discord call, and I'm just,
Have a buddy.
Yeah, just happily chatting away. And I think that's why a lot of people like this. Now, we're not going to comment on this post just yet because he updates it 3 times. So I think, I'm just double checking. Yes, this is the first of it. But it is good to remember, guys, this is how things start out. And James is very quickly becoming our very own Joseph, isn't he?
The Jays are winning the game, everyone.
Yeah, the Jays are winning the game.
The rest of you need to keep up, guys.
Well, I guess, that's why I'm a H, because I am not keeping up at all. Not necessarily.
Is it because you're not a K, like a Kardashian?
We've got to move on. She's been given too much power, and she's gone crazy. All right, so next up we have
our local Mr. Morton L. Christensen.
Local. He's been here like a week or two. He's a local already?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Trying to put up a few better pictures of Celestine. Hopefully the lighting is alright. I will have to work a bit more on it in the future though, but with you just mentioning it in the live show today, it feels fitting getting it put up. Yes.
Yeah.
There are places that are in need of a touch-up or redo in the future, but for now it is ready for battle on the table. The part I liked the least, and that actually gave me the most trouble, was the parchment ribbon from the pile of skulls and up to the skirt. The skills on the base could also use some extra highlight. Oh, I think you meant to say skulls.
Yeah.
some extra highlights.
Or auto-correct.
So for now, I am quite satisfied with it. All things considering, I am relatively new painter in terms of skill, as I have never really been able to put enough time into it. But 2024 is the year of painting for me. I believe it was a Justin Gray who earlier mentioned he also wanted a better photo.
Yeah, for sure. So we have Morten Christensen on the chat.
Hello, Mr. Local Man. Hello. See, I told you.
Alright, so hello to Denmark. Alright, first thing I noticed, right, it is exactly as I thought it was. The white's done very well. I'm going to try and zoom in a bit more. But Morten, what you want is, I'm just going to show you here with this one as we're on. So you want a light over around here, and a light over around here. And you want something to diffuse them, so baking tray paper or like a old white t-shirt or something like that.
Any sort of
and
fabric.
Then you point both of them at that area, right? And that's going to give you the best light that you can get.
Yeah, if you can't have like a cloth or t-shirt that you might have, even a paper towel. Paper towel should be okay, right? Or is that too much? No. Okay, never mind. Baking tray paper is good, right? Baking tray paper. Yeah, that's pretty common. Like everyone pretty much has that. You could use that too. Yes, but I can roughly tell from the very first picture you've applied a I believe, is that what, Soul Blight Grey or Apothecary White?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But it comes out quite well.
Nice.
Like there's very little pooling. Like you can see a tiny bit of pooling in some of these, but that pooling just looks like natural shadow.
Shadowing, yeah.
Whereas just up here, that's where you're going to have to watch out for, because that would require some wicking away because it looks unnatural. Like you are going to have that little shadow there, closer to what this one looks like, but that's a bit too heavy. But the thing is, when it comes to doing models like this, because this is going to be your centerpiece model, remember people are going to focus in on things.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, right, remember things like, for example, right here, where you've got your mold lines. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have mold lines, because let's say that you got some base troops, that sort of thing. I don't care as much about it, but this is at least going to be a character level model, and I see that she's quite clean. So from what I remember, she has mold lines around here, so you've obviously scraped those off. So just remember that those little details will come out. And the only thing I would say when it comes to this, the skulls are quite bright. Maybe possibly consider doing something like starting with darker color and coming up from there. But other than that, like well, first off, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this model. It is really quite nice.
I was going to point out that I do think that perhaps a different colored wash might be good for the doves instead. So like a pale blue wash, just to differentiate
the doves from wings.
Because it is like
I don't know.
Into it a bit.
I'm a bit 6 one way, half a dozen the other on that one, because I think that like having the doves match the wings is actually quite nice. It actually gives quite a nice feel to it. But I think that we have said as much as we can say on this one. Morten, if you'd like to give any comments yourself while you're on the chat, anything that you'd like to say about the model, anything where you're like, I wanted to consider this, give us some feedback if there's anything that you would like us to talk about in particular. And that's pretty much it. But if we don't see anything in the next 10 to 30 seconds, we'll move on. And I don't think we are, because we've been doing a pretty long lead in.
Well, I think sometimes it's...
Oh, it is the delay, of course. But we will move on for the moment.
Robert Mayo.
Okay.
Yes. Oh,
can't right now, because at work.
Okay, sure.
That's all good.
No worries. All right. So Robert Mayo, we've got finished up my... Oh dear. It's the Vix Tricks God, they look so much better next to Mani. Mani though. Mani.
Manius Calgar.
This guy? Guy Mani or that guy Mani?
Yeah, do you believe that's Manius Calgar in the background?
Mm.
So I will say a lot of what I said last time, I believe. So what I said last time is, like, they're quite clean.
Oh, they're very clean.
And I think that's fine, right? But there's a couple of things, in my opinion, that need to change. Like, you really want to add that white highlight around the edge of the ultramarine.
If you
did, the ultra symbol.
Yeah, if you did, it's not really coming through as much. So it might need a second pass of a dry brush.
Well, no, a dry brush would be too imprecise because it would just like touch other areas and then you'd have to go and fix it up.
So a edge highlight then.
Yeah, essentially an edge highlight.
Yeah.
Mostly around the very tip right here. Around there. Just to sort of make it pop a bit more.
And I can see the guy at the back, he's got his power sword there and it's looking quite blue. I think it's I think he's going for blue in general. Power sword. It's just that it does feel a bit too matching with everything else that's going on. I just feel like
it should have a bit more
steel.
Yeah. Well, I think he can have blue.
Glow.
Yeah, the glow. That's what I was going to talk about, the lightning effect.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not bad. It's just, like you said, blends into the background.
Yeah, it needs a bit of contrast.
The other thing is, if you're going to go with this sort of grey dirt look, you 100% need to base rim these guys because it throws off the feel.
Yeah, it does make it feel very incomplete.
Yeah.
Probably because of that particular shade of grey looks just like the plastic as well. And if there's not much elements going on, it can look like a mistake.
It needs like rocks and some grass and something. Just something. It doesn't matter whether you're going for rubble or whatever, but it can't just be just that.
Yeah, because you've done so much work.
Yeah, exactly. You've done all this work on these guys.
And the base, it's like how you frame your artwork.
Yes.
Like you can just have a canvas on a wall, but it'll always feel like something's off if you don't have the right frame to go with it. So it's kind of the same thing.
You can have just a straight canvas. But it depends on the background.
Yeah.
So, for example, do you know that red artwork where it's the woman with the rose?
Woman with the...
You know the one at... And there...
I think I know that, the one, yeah.
Yeah. If that was on our red wall, that would just be...
Like just floating canvas blends in with the red wall. Yeah, so it does matter. Okay, so that's all environmental factors that affect the artwork, right? And the base is kind of like that.
Yeah, it's the base is in the environment.
The environmental factor that affects how your overall look comes out. So that's why it's important to put
100%
onto your base.
All right,
yes.
Next up, we did... So people wanted more... How could we say it? They wanted more things like more color theory.
More color theory,
even though we've kind of beaten that horse to death, haven't we?
Yeah, but I do think that people seem to like it or see us generally as the art theory channel in relation to the miniature hobby. Because recently we did some shorts like what is the grimdark art style, what's the Blanchitsu art style.
I think they really like the Blanchitsu and want, because it's uses Anders Zorn's palette and they're like, palette? Colors?
Oh yes. Show me the colors.
What? How does color work? And it's like, it's alright guys.
Oh, it doesn't talk about color. I click off now, bye.
Alright, but yeah, so
yeah, I think we're kind of figuring out what is working and what is not working with the YouTube. In terms of what people... Yeah, I'm sorry, okay, anyway. Let's just move on to
Jason Tate.
He's got a very cute little dinosaur.
A cute little dinosaur. I'm sure that's exactly how he wants it
Yes,
described.
it's a lizard man, but he looks like a fun toy I would play with.
All right, well, you read out what he says.
I want to see
Yes.
something different. I'm out of the house for the weekend, so I packed up a model, my Chimera paints, white palette, and a limited number of brushes. Experimenting once again with the Chimera base set, I took it upon myself to paint up a lizard man. I know that's not what GW call them, but come on. We know that they're lizardmen. They do call them lizardmen, no?
They've changed.
They changed the name?
Look. Let's not go into that rabbit hole.
Okay, I started off with the blue and green scheme, and despite liking it, I realized that it was a scheme I've used several times before. Deciding to rather try something different, I changed it completely. Also, with no metallic paints in the Chimera set, this is another chance for me to try some non-metallic metal. Doesn't have a, okay, I think he doesn't really have a goal with this. Just some painting to keep those brushes wet. Oh yeah. But I love this. Really do.
He's got an update on this one later, but I do just want to make some comments. So he's done it with the Sotek vibe. So Sotek was one of the gods from the old world, and they had the purple scales.
Okay.
Right. And anyway, as I think like there's some really nice color theory going on here. Yeah. Like, for example, how nice and warm the shield is, right? Mm. And how he's used that green accent to push that. And he's also got the green accent in the frills.
The frills.
What? Crest.
The crest.
Yeah, and so I think all of that looks really nice. But let's not fully comment on this one just yet, because I do believe that he's got the update just a little bit more. So I think we'll give a bit more of a comment to that. But what I do want to comment on quickly is the fact that he actually just packed up one model, a palette, and a couple of brushes. And like, the thing is, there's always a reason not to paint. Right? There's always a reason to just, go, all right, well, I'm not going to paint because X, Y, Z, right? But when it comes down to it, you can find ways to paint, right? He's found a way to paint. And that's what you should focus on. Because, like, look, we're all tired when we get home.
Yeah, but I think it's also like a change of pace type of painting style.
Yeah.
You know how people like to go, we have that little watercolor travel kit. And then you go out and just paint the people or paint the trees or whatever it is. Yeah. So I think that's kind of a similar thing that he tried to do for himself. And it's nice to do something where you don't really have any sort of hard set goals on. You just let your creativity flow. That generally helps reset your motivation to do more painting. So that's good. All right, the next one.
Yes. So hold up. So the next one is actually in a response to a member Monday, but it was
Paulo Garcia.
Do you just want to read that one out while I take a look at it?
Yeah. So
it's a very nice old school paint job.
Oh yeah. Thanks for the greeting, guys. I have this second edition orc on my desk for months now. Just waiting for work to ease up again till I can give it another go.
Wow.
What other goes do you need to do, my dude?
Well, like, take a look at, he's even done like the edging on the fingernail.
Yeah. I'm not sure how.
It's okay, just look at this one over here rather than doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely exactly like the old hammer style.
Yeah.
And
lots of soft blending,
high contrast, very vibrant colors.
Goblin green
Goblin
turf.
Green. Yep.
Yeah,
classic.
Well, I
think okay, now I see the things that he hasn't finished. It's like the horns.
Yeah, the horns and the
blade.
axe.
Yeah, the axe. Ooh,
yeah.
Very
there's a couple of things, but I think it is looking very, very tasty. But once again, I think that's another one of those sorts of things where you look at it and it's just like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
And see, I think one of the great things about having a place like this and just coming here and, looking and being there, right? Um, it just makes you realize. For example, I think we no longer finish with James, but we were going to finish because I think Alex got something in or someone got something in just before the end. Here, I'll cheat and I'll
don't
look.
remember.
Yeah, it's Alex.
Oh, it's Alex, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
So James is right here, and like we were going to finish with him and we were starting with him, and it was just sort of like that nice thing where you see how people just do that little bit more, that little bit more, that little bit more, and then you get those finished models. And you can see just blocking in colors, just doing this, just.
And I do think he's gotten a lot better with being very clean and neat and smooth.
He was already pretty clean, but I have to admit that his brush control has improved. You want to read out his post?
Okay. My entry for Member Monday. Currently, project still got a fair bit to go, but I am loving how the costumes are. Yeah.
And also, I think he's doing a bit better with the highlighting. Like right here, you can tell that like these are actual highlights, not just the contrast.
Yeah.
And I think...
Is this contrast? It looks like base paint, actually.
I think these ones might be base paints, yes. Or not speed paints, because I think he uses speed paints over contrast. But with all that said, we'll move on because we're going to comment on his last thing. So next up...
We've got Robert Mayer again.
And he is really smashing things out.
And they're looking so good, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Top notch. So he says, painted this scion for the sorry, my article. Painted this scion for the night today. Did the actual night a bit ago. Was trying out a couple new contrasts, so he doesn't exactly match his night all.
Yeah, alright, well, let's take a look here. So I did the zoom in on this. I think it looks very nice, But let's... Whoop. So here we are.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the night. Oh, he doesn't exactly not match the night.
Wow, that's so tiny.
Well, no, he's just average size, and that's how big a night is,
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look. So I think this guy's looking very nice. Very good color contrast. Very classic. I'm actually the good guy here because, it's the...
yellow, blue, and red.
Yep.
And the face detail has come out really nice, too. Like, you can see the expression in his face and everything.
I do think that that's much more just the contrast, judging by it, But, I mean, that's not a bad thing. There's no such thing as cheating, guys. If something works, it works. Like...
And also, consider diminishing
returns.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things that we well, no. I'll talk about my painting for a bit. So when I was doing, what are the dwarves called again?
The Votan.
Oh yeah. So the League of Votan, I put a lot of work into the zenithal highlighting, right? And I try to make sure that it's very crisp, very clean, right? And when I put those very, very thin coats of the contrast on, and I take a lot of time to control it, those faces came out so well.
Oh, yeah, I really did enjoy your Votan.
So, keep that in mind. But, he seems to match it, unless you were meaning to do steel for, those things, but I don't think you were. I think he matches fine. I don't think...
Yeah, he doesn't look out of place or anything.
Yeah, I think it's not so bad because the metals that will be used on a vehicle and the metals that will be used on a, infantry armor may be very different. I can see what he's saying because this is a more rich gold and that's a more bright gold. Yeah. So I can see what he's saying, but
when I take a look at the second picture where it's sort of zoomed out, it sort of blends in,
Yeah,
it doesn't look as off-putting as I think.
Yeah.
And this is a knight or a dreadnought, sorry.
Knight.
The knight is kind of the star of the piece. because he's the most attention-grabbing thing.
Mm.
So they might not notice as much of those discrepancies with the pilot as they might with the knight, if there was any. So yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that comes up so often is people asking for advice, and when it comes to airbrushes, guys,
yeah,
I just want to say, all right, the thing is, I do not recommend getting like a super
expensive.
yeah to start with, and the reason I don't recommend that is because essentially you're human, you're going to stuff up.
Yeah.
And you're not going to stuff up in a way where it's like, oh, you know, like I can recover this airbrush. No, you're going to stuff up in some way, because I feel like 80% of airbrushing comes down to cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I hate cleaning the airbrush.
Yeah, but you just have to.
Yeah.
It's just something that you have to do. And just get a cheap Chinese one and just go for it. Just go for it. Don't get like the fancy, essentially sable version of an airbrush, right? You're going to stuff up, and a sable brush is going to be so much different from an airbrush. Like, remember, this thing is like essentially it's the equivalent of a GUN.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of technicality. So just remember that, guys. All right, so next up we've got Jason, and he's done some more work on the guy. And once again, remember, guys, if you want to say anything, talk to us on the chat, feel free. All right, so let's take a look at it, and if you could read out, please.
This is where I got to across the weekend on the Lizardman. Took a while to get the tie pad correct. Now I need to learn how to do a rectangular object for the club. Also, I realized that I grabbed my son's mini instead of mine. He needs a bloody good talking to about mini prep and mold line or flash removal. It's these days. At least they give me extra practice for highlights and shadows. Well, he probably saw what a cool dinosaur this was. Stole it.
Well, I have to say, this is some of the more convincing non-metallic metal I have seen. Take a look at how crisp these highlights are.
Yeah,
it doesn't push all the way. It's...
I think this really shows, like, how much practice he's got in since doing his little samurai dwarf. And, he redid everything to get it right. And now he's sort of gotten all the right mindsets on how to approach non-metallic metal. And it's so crisp now. It's perfect, almost, I would say. Like, where, metal sometimes will have those very sharp edges. And then it sometimes has areas where you have a bit more of a soft blend in the reflection with a harder edge on the other side. It's hard to describe without actually showing.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of get what I'm trying to get at.
I get exactly what you're trying to get at. And just letting you guys know, if you message me while we're doing this, unfortunately I cannot reply to you. So that's something.
Oh, from the messenger.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll need a proof.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. I think we should move on. All right. Next up, we have something very intense.
A child. Oh, it's a Deathwing Knight.
Yes. You want to read out what our dear noble brushstroke says?
Okay, Deathwing Knight done. Hopefully it's up to scratch given the incredibly high bar set for Deathwing already in the group. Yep.
Yes.
And it's looking very smooth as per usual.
Wait, look at this. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we got to zoom in. Look at that.
But
it is. Smooth butt brush stroke. Sorry, that's a bit of an in-joke, guys. But yeah, it's his classic style. It's very smooth.
Is this Deathwing symbol a decal?
Yes, it definitely would be a decal.
Yeah.
That does not look like freehand. And like, while I do believe that brushstroke can do freehand, I don't believe he's known for it. And I think he uses the decals because of how clean they are.
Yeah, and he's going for the clean look.
Yes, he definitely is going for the ultra clean look. And, you know, seeing this contrasted with Alex's and with Justin's, it's so interesting because I was thinking about maybe doing a video on find your style. Because one of the things is I take a look at this and it is so beautiful. It's so fantastic. But the thing I like to think about is just each of those ones, I loved each of them for a different reason, right? And I don't think that any of them are better or worse than the others. I actually like the battle damaged ones better than this one.
Yeah.
Until I see his base, because I tell you what, brushstroke is fantastic at basing. So maybe once I see the base, maybe then we'll be able to, you know, see how things go. But I do want to try one thing out. So, open up a new window. Let's just see. It doesn't look like it's gone to it. So I'm just going to see if I can find out what this person's trying to say, if somebody's trying to come on. Probably spam. It's probably spam, but we will live in hope. Alright, so next up we have...
Oh, it's Sebastian, and he says, working on a big commission. There's one of the Virtus Praetors I finished. And look at the background. So faint.
Well, rather than look at the background, look at the base.
It's marble.
It is marble.
Why is he flying over marble?
Because he's a... Yes, it was spam, guys. Do not worry. It was spam. Yo.
That's sad.
Yes, because I thought
nobody wants to be our friend anymore.
Alright, so I think that basing, absolutely perfect and thematic. And another thing that I notice about this one, right? When we take a look at this one compared to the other, so the last commission we did, oh, look at that lightning. That lightning's beautiful.
Let me see. Oh, yeah.
So I do believe that this might need a bit more cleanliness because it feels like
I see
the wash is quite heavy here.
Yeah, it almost looks like the paint underneath, like it's scratched through the red paint to reveal the metal underneath the way that it's pulled.
So I think that's absolutely beautiful lightning that he's done. I love the screen work here. You don't need to do a whole pattern on it, and this is exactly what I was talking about before with his stuff, right? So remember how nice his shield was? And I wasn't saying that his skin work was bad, right? But his work with that, with the shield, was so much more intense than the other thing. And like, I take a look at this guy and he feels much more all together, with the exception of some of the red up here, which is just, I think, up the very top along this area, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When I take a look at it, I think this is absolutely fantastic, and I think, you know, I'd be pretty dang happy to receive this because, like, great basing work. And this is what I'm talking about, guys, right? He's just got the marble there, right? He doesn't need to do anything more fancy because the marble work is enough.
Yeah.
right?
Well, nothing else meant to go on top of marble anyway.
Well, you could do, other things. You could like have, for example, make it marble tile, so that there is more you could do, but that's enough.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's got its 3 elements within it itself. So I think this is really good work. All right. So next up, we have
Oh, it's you.
Yes, it's me. So I will have to read out. Okay. It's Whip Wednesday. Hope you have been having a fantastic week. We have been putting a lot into the YouTube side, but Sunny has encouraged me to do more painting. Thus, I'm getting more done now. And actually, I have done a lot, but unfortunately, when we tried to post it earlier, he
just refused.
Yeah, so I'll bring up some of what I've done. Like, I did this one.
The Hololith Diet.
I finished off all of these ones.
Console.
Yeah, so finished off all of those ones. And there's like various levels of zoom in on those ones. And yeah, so it wasn't a lot extra that had to be done, but just little bits and pieces and wires, so many damn wires.
Yep.
And
wires.
Yeah, but so yeah, I have been doing a bit, and this was one of just the little background pieces that I was doing, and yeah. So I hope that you guys have been putting in a lot of work too. All right, shall we move on to... we've got another...
It's got more Morton.
Yes, more Morton.
All right. With Wednesday, one of my newer models and part of the newest project with Grey Knights, where I challenged to do as much as I can of it with an airbrush. As I relatively recently bought one, I started on it just before I joined this group, where I had just base coated the main miniature and his cape and back. Number 1, regret. I did not leave the sword arm separate, as that would have made things easier later on. I was pretty yeah. I was pretty happy how the silver armor turned out with a black primer, then a dark metal in most of the places, and then from a roughly 75-degree angle and straight on top with a brighter silver. After a black primer, I tried making the cape from a deep purple, including highlights with the airbrush, as my plan was his cape should be brown or leather on the inside and purple on the outside. The banner I started painting...
Are you sure that's not the other way around?
That's what he said.
Okay, so it's meant to be...
He said, my plan was his cape should be brown or leather on the inside and purple on the outside.
This is the other way right now, so yeah.
Yeah, I think he did not... Might have mixed it up while he was writing it. But the banner I started painting... mix of army painted speed paints and regular layer style paints. Number 2, well, this was not the plan. Time to do it differently. I said I wanted the purple on the outside, but it ended up on the inside. Because I mixed up the sides. So I ran with it and tried my hand at painting something that looked sort of like leather, which could be better for sure, but ended up quite alright so far. I have something to say about this, but I will say it later. Anyway, currently for taking the pictures of the cape and banner is just very loosely on, as I have quite a bit of tidying up to do, and most likely there are some hidden purity seals somewhere I missed. The blade is supposed to be almost a black metal, and currently it is very shiny, as I tried some Liquitex, which I have never used before, which left a shiny surface. Very odd, I don't know that. Number 3, damn mold lines. After taking the last few pictures, I see a few mold lines I still miss.
Alright, so that's, so Morton has said a couple of things. He said, I really love the Saurus. One day I'll get brave enough to try it. Love it. And today is the day that you're brave enough, because all you have to do is just go for it.
He's got more things.
Yes, I am responding one by one. Do you want to read the next one?
Yes.
She's pointing at it like a maniac, going, say the more comments. Say the more comments.
Because he doesn't have time, he said. He said, I got a quick second to write something. Video about finding your style of painting would be awesome and very interesting. And I have not found any particular style yet I would call my own, just a mix of things.
Yeah.
Which is often how style generally develops. It's just you finding different parts and preferences of different references, and then you're just doing that. But yeah. Okay, now I will share my thoughts about the cape. So, you are right. Originally, when I read it as purple on the outside and leather on the inside, it didn't make sense to me because leather is kind of a feature texture.
Ah, yeah.
So it's like you isn't that supposed to be on the outside? It's kind of like if you said you decided you would do a diamond encrusted cape, for example.
Yeah.
And you decided that would be on the inside and the color would be on the outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I was just like, when you said, are you sure that's what he said? And I'm like, yeah, that's what he said. And it's like, but it does make sense that you switched it around this way.
Well, let's actually talk about the cape. But have we answered everything that he said?
Yes.
So, no, we have not. And I would not have found any particular style yet that I would call my own. Just a few mixes of things.
That's what I said. I read it out to you.
Well, we'll play it back for the courts.
Mm.
All right. So I think that the leathers come up well. So right here, with these scratches along here, but not these ones which are sort of on their lonesome as much. These scratches quite nice. And see, I wouldn't. What this is called is, I would say, it's called distressed leather, rather than that. Now, one of the other things you can do is get this color and just mix it with a bit of black, your base color, and do those similar sorts of marks around that area, and then cover them up with these, and it will help give that distressed look as well.
Is it like give a bit of a shadow depth to
It's
the distress?
because, you know, when leather cracks and such, it'll have like some more deep cracks and some more like things that will catch the light. And I think that highlighting right there is really nice. Yeah, because it comes from like a crisp highlight into like a more faded one. I think it looks quite nice, but I very much like the stipple highlighting along there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what this sort of material needs, because it's not a glossy.
Yeah, so
it's porous, so your stipple highlighting makes the most sense. So yeah, I think you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think that looks really good. Also, I can see some of the glossies talking about with it, but just mix that matte medium and just put it over and you should be good. But I think what I really like is, because he's airbrushed the cape, it just looks so perfect on the other side. It just and I almost feel like saying, don't even bother shadowing it, because it just looks so
good, yeah.
Yeah. But I know, of course, you should shadow it, but I feel like even like try shadowing with the airbrush rather than just with a traditional brush.
Yeah, if not, it might ruin that ultra.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we've said pretty much all we can. And I think Morton's really been putting in a lot of work. And like the thing is, so as far as what I'm reading, Morton's sort of starting out, or more along the lines of starting out. Just don't beat yourself up. That's the biggest thing that you've got to do when you're starting out. Like, for example, when we give these suggestions, we're not giving them out of like just going, oh, not good enough, because the thing is, we hear what you're saying, and you're saying, I'm really putting an effort in here, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We try and match our feedback to the level of effort, and it's obvious that you're trying for at least character level, but in the way that you're saying things, I know that you're not there yet, but it sounds like you're trying for showcase, because trying to push yourself beyond your limits. And that's what we call showcase, when you're trying to push yourself beyond your limits. All right, let us move on to
Marcelda. I wanted to make a progress with my command squad, but this Demon Rust tank speak to me, and now I think I try to make some desert camouflage.
But you know the one thing that I love about this? So I saw that and I thought, oh, Joe, and you know what?
That's what I was
Hi,
thinking.
dude. And a 14...
Let's talk.
and like, I just... Whoa, why did it all disappear when I... Oh, of course, Facebook being Facebook. And like, just the conversations, you know, like, it's so fantastic that that's what people are doing here, because that's what we want.
And he sent some of the real life reference
Yeah.
Because like that's the first thing I thought: desert tanks, Joe.
Yes.
And then he's already all over it, and I absolutely, because it's like you would want to share your knowledge about something that you've been perfecting for a very long time, you know, and I absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think it's really good that we have that kind of community, because what I love is not only that people are willing to get that feedback, but people are willing to give it. And see, that's
yeah,
what
you're not like waiting to ask, you're just already over it, sort of thing.
Yeah. And like somebody's just like you said, it's like this person is doing this thing. And you know how we've had those little, you know, I don't want to call them rivalries, but I don't have a better word for it. But like when Alex and Justin are
it is the
competing,
like friendly rivalry.
Yeah,
friendly competition, if you will.
And just those little things, like it makes it feel so much more real.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so next up we have yet another Joe Art adventure.
This is Joe?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen him do models in so long. Like,
no,
that is non-orcs.
No, he has been, except
okay.
they were...
I remember this now.
But he's been working on them for a while, so he's been doing batches. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all calm ourselves. First off, we shall address the comment. Morton Christensen. Thanks for the kind word and the tips along the way with them. About the cape, I initially had a plan of outside.
Purple outside, honey.
Listen, I am the storyteller here. Fine, I shall end it, woman.
He said purple on the outside.
Yes, and he wanted the leather on the inside, but he changed his mind. But I see that nobody wishes storytelling.
No listening.
All right. So, after that comment, let us return to another Joe R. Sutton. I'm pretty much only going for a good tabletop standard. Pish, I say. Mostly finished them. Just got the bases and pigment to add. Did nearly streaking grime, but these guys are desert guys. So, muddy grime felt wrong. I've also finished a 12-man unit. Also needs basing. Doing these guys right at the back of the fourth photo. The command unit and proxy creed have been heavily gloss varnished, then a matte coat. The old metal models don't like having paint on them. They'll chip if you look at them. They'll chip if you don't look at them. They'll chip in a breeze, chip in a storm. So, let us peruse these images.
I thought this was a Warhammer community post.
I tell you what, these are like quite possibly the most colourful Desert Raiders I've ever seen. What I love, right, is how they've got that Desert Raider uniform, right? And then it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna have like the most colorful turban ever because I'm the leader guy. This guy's like blue plasma gun. Like it's so it contrasts so much with the vehicles behind them because like you can see the prep work he's done with the basing and such, right? Everything else looks so realistic, and then these guys are just sort of like, "What up, bruh?"
I like the colors.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like
What up, bruh?
It's the biggest case of whiplash I've ever seen, you know.
It's the JoJo episode.
Yeah, like it's like one of those shows where like everything is realistic in the background and then it's just anime people and you're just like what?
Where's
what?
the budget ran out?
Yeah, well no, it's like actual photos of New York in the background and then just people with triangle chins. And like that's the kind of level of contrast these guys have with these. But to be fair, that does very much draw attention to how, you know, interesting they look. Because I think that they do look really interesting. I do really like them. It's just, it is tonal whiplash, I will say that much. Alright. So next up.
Wait, are we not gonna...
We did look at the pictures,
okay.
But we focused on one of the pictures, to be fair. But I think that's because they were the most complete, and he's saying, I'm going to do these ones. And I do think, a little later on, there's a chance. There's a chance.
Ooh.
So.
Got Joseph. How would you paint these light flares? High silver or chrome? White, near white versions of the item they're coming from, pearlescent. Else.
So what I love is, you know, how people have commented, and this was the thing that...
Oh, the animation.
Yeah, that Jason Tate showed. You know, he's just like this.
Yep.
And I love that we have these conversations because, unfortunately, like was... when we started this, or rather when I started this, our time is becoming shorter and shorter, and that's why we really, really want guests. If you want to be a guest on here, don't worry, it's not hard. All you basically have to do is just say,
Hello.
I want
come
to
now.
And basically your mic has to not be Space Command. You know.
I'm losing you in the tunnel.
Yes.
Yeah.
But would you like to read out what Joseph said?
Okay. In the comments?
Yeah, no, just his.
Oh, he said something.
No.
Aww.
On the post, his post. No, not the comment, the post.
I already read it.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I might be a little tired, guys. But I think it's looking really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does.
With the shing.
Yeah, the shing.
Oh, I just realized that those things that I've been thinking are shurikens. They're like printed on the flare.
Yeah.
That's so
But they
silly.
are meant to be inspired by anime, so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why that needs to be done because often the light flare exits the thing itself.
It's true, but I wonder how it will come off because I think it's gonna be quite like even if you were a master painter, I'm not sure how that would come off.
Yeah, because it's gonna cast a shadow because of it being a
physical object. Yeah.
I feel like that's not the best thing that they've done on their part, but anyhow.
Maybe if it was like in the model itself, like
no, it still wouldn't work because the shadow from being recessed.
Ah, right.
It has to be treated like, it'll take me a while, but in our color harmony video, we showed that one Slanesh, the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one they hand painted freehand the flare in the mirror.
Yeah.
That makes sense. you know.
Well,
so yeah. Anyhow,
we'll move on to Sebastian.
Sebastian. Since it's still Whip Wednesday, I'm painting Real Ventress. I don't even remember the last time I painted an ultramarine, but it's fun and nice to change the color palette.
Well, one of the things that I very much like is the base here. That is a beautiful base. The way that he's done, it's very, very subtle verdigris. I don't think like I would like something to be added to this one because but I think it does hit 3 elements.
I feel like he could have, because we've talked about this before. I think it was Justin who gave this commentary, but the verdigris would form where the water would pull the most. So I'm thinking he needs some verdigris within the ultramar symbols.
You would be right. It would pull around the edge here.
Isn't it reset side? Like
no. So see, that's why he's put it on here, right?
Yeah.
Because they'll pull around those
the raised areas,
the rivets.
Yeah, the rivets.
Right?
That's fair.
But it won't be in the pooled areas. It will be where there's that difference of elevation. So it would be in the crevices of each thing.
Yeah.
So not within the depths of the U, like it might dribble into the depths of the U, but it would be around the edges, so the lower edge of it and along the line. But that's another one where I'm like, I think about the hyperreality thing, and I think that might not convey the right message, so I think it looks fine as is. And just some classic good old getting stuff prepped, but that base is looking mighty fine. All right, shall we move on? All right, so next up we have Brian Thomas. I do believe Brian Thomas...
Byron Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do believe he's new, and he's showing off Ionis on Zombie Dragon. Is that right?
Yeah, Zombie Dragon base.
Yeah, and it's pretty much exactly what he says it is. He's created a big mound here, so I will really look forward to seeing what he's going to do, because at the moment we are seeing just the starting preparation stages. But that's great, because guys, that's how things go. We start out, we prime our models, then we start painting them.
Yep.
We want to see every stage of creation, because that's how things go.
Oh, this is your favorite one.
Oh yeah, I was very impressed by this when I was taking a look. So we've got main character Van der Pol.
MC Van der Pol.
Yes, so they're the main character, right?
Yes. Hey everyone, new to the group, join to learn some from people longer in the hobby, and learn from some people longer in the hobby, and maybe a bit to show off my noob work. This is my current project, the bioluminescent hive fleet.
I tell you what, I just love how some people are like, yeah, I'm a noob, and you look at them and it's like, I wish I was your kind of noob.
Yeah.
But I really like what they've done. So I do think when it comes to this, it could use some more blending with those big old marks on the side, right? So just some more soft blending with some stippling, like getting a makeup brush and just tap, 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 tap. It would be very boring, but I think that would help a lot. So you see how we've got those little trickle marks there, and that sort of thing. But I understand why that might not be the best, because you can see on the edges of it where the paint isn't thickly applied, the effect doesn't come out nearly as strong. But I think that would be another reason why you want to do that blending, right? I'm not talking about for these big old lines here. These big old lines here, I think are fine. They're very reminiscent of, what's the name? Poison Dart Frog.
Poison Dart.
No, no, look at them. Okay, so I'll go back to not this one because I think the lines on this one could either be cleaned up a bit or add some additional stuff in here. But if you take a look at this guy right here, so we'll blow that out, and the way that its dots are look like a poison dart frog. I think they need to be a bit more random because they're very structured at the moment. But like, I think the lining's fine, but I think some of these dots are a bit too organized, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you say.
To give that natural look.
Yeah.
And another thing that I would suggest, right, is because if you're going to do this sort of patterning with that, right, I would suggest also doing more a dark brown patterning with this more orangey skin, you know, to give that level of contrast. Because what you've done is you've done very dark base and then lighter on top, and then over here lighter with darker spots. I think would really just
that would
make
be
it
very
pop.
cool.
But yeah, I was very impressed with these. Absolutely nothing wrong with the paint job. You're going for a really high contrast thing, but I feel like when I take a look at it, the skin feels incomplete when we compare it to the carapace, because it doesn't fit to that same level.
Okay.
So, and they are starting out, so they still should have some room to move around. All right, so next up, it was Throwback Thursday, and oh boy, did we get some comments, as we say. Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
All right, so let's take a look at all of the comments, and one of the things that I really like seeing was all of the comments. So I've got to organize it by all comments. Hidden comments by you. Show comments. I don't know what that's all about. I just want to see all the comments.
All the comments.
All right, so John Sanish was showing off.
Sanish. Sanish.
Yes. Was showing off some of his work.
I don't...
Because it's probably set on all comments on your one. That's why, sorry, set on newest comments. So,
how do I see?
Oh, it's Facebook. But yeah, it's interesting seeing like where he was to where he is now. So this is what he's been doing more recently with those quite vibrant golds, and like he compares himself to where he was, and I think it's a good level of growth.
I really love those sort of rainbow wings on the
Yeah.
art.
But you know, the other thing is, what I really like was seeing this from Alan O'Brien, because the thing is, Alan O'Brien now is mostly known as like a showcase level painter. But you take a look back, and this would have been years and years ago, but that's how people start out, and that's why this is what WAYPN is all about. It's about showing how much you've grown. Like, I think somewhere amongst what our friend gave back to us was the very first model that I put on WAYPN, and ooh, it's an ugly beast. I've been looking for it because you organize things.
Honey, we talked about moving the Dark Angel box.
So have you moved all the Dark Angels into the box? Is that where you think he is?
It's one of the boxes. I'm not remembering.
All right.
Which.
Well, we'll have to find it. But yeah, you see, like, compare this to some of the other stuff that he's done, and oh boy. And
ooh.
Yes, there is just so many things here, and it's basically me just going, yes, but why do you love them? And people are just like, show it more.
Look at my thing.
Yes, and it's very fun seeing where people have begun.
The beginning. Yes.
Yes. But yeah, I think seeing where the various projects people have done, seeing where people have begun, like looking at some of these, like so Marcel, I take a look at the level of difference here. Like this compared to some of his
the current, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So guys, remember
White and gold, guy.
yeah. It's very clean. It doesn't have the shadowing, but it's so clean, you know. And like it's funny seeing where various peoples have started off. Um Alex and his Votan right here.
Yeah, he's got a mustache.
He's almost cute in a way. But I think oh, and there's Jason Chait's sort of Aztec rainbow
is that
stuff.
yeah, Aztec? Is that what it is?
Well, it feels Aztec
yeah,
with
the
how
colors,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It's supposed to be a stormcast, right?
Yeah.
And see,
But
proving our point once again.
what?
That without that head and the color.
Yeah. But I think we will get lost in all of these if we go into these too much.
Yes.
So sorry if I just sort of brushed over your one, but there is so much in there. Next time, make a post, guys. Make a post about why you did it and why you love it so much. Okay, so next up we have James Salisbury.
Yes, get ready to feel some emotional pain for Throwback Thursday. This is my army from 2007 when I was a 40k player. Want to know just how much I have improved? Come see how I started miniature painting.
It's some very thick coats here.
Let me take a look. Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, look, I have seen worse, but there's some big mold lines. It's an interesting color scheme, though. It's not something I see a lot of people have, but yeah.
And the yellow didn't turn out so great with
the... no.
Are they bold?
No, that's skin.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, no.
It's okay. That's just like, how people start out.
Yeah, no, but like the thing is, he's a lot cleaner now.
Oh yeah.
You know, like take a look at how much he has grown as a painter. This is the one thing that I want to say about all of these throwbacks, right? Take a look at the level of difference between them. Right?
Yeah.
Take a look at where they were and where they are now.
And you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah, well, see...
It's like looking at your picture when you were 9 and then looking at a picture of you when you were like...
Well, don't think about it that way because I think, like, growing is just something that happens, right?
Yeah.
But when you take a look at it like this, think about it like this. You have to put effort into painting to become better at it. Right, you'll just grow regardless.
Yeah.
But this takes skill and effort.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that you sort of surprise yourself when you're often giving yourself a hard time, but when you sort of just go back to something that you did a long time ago and you see what you are doing now, you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize how far I've come.
Yeah.
You know? Which is that sort of pleasant surprise.
Well, would you like to read out for the next one?
It's Lance
It
Davenport. Is. Only one double. Had fun with these goblin goons.
But yeah, I really love this one here. And
I love the color. What is this technique called again? I forget. Where you have like those little different patches of color.
Oh, I am too tired to remember if I ever said anything about that. But taking a look at this, right? Like, the eyes have directionality. I think Lance has just been getting better and better. And, like, this is... Do you remember, like, Lance had a surgery which wasn't the best. And, like, we saw some of his stuff previously. But this... The eyes have directionality.
Oh, no, honey. One of them is looking.
No, no, look.
Yeah, I see
No,
it.
no, look. So both of them are looking down. It's the angle, right? So both of them are looking down.
Are
They are.
you sure?
I'm
Cause
sure.
it looks
Saying it
like
to
one.
you.
Yeah, it looks like it to me.
Maybe it is, but when I look at it this way,
Yeah. I didn't think anything of it when I saw the first one, but then when I saw the second one, I thought.
look,
it
I
looked a
reckon
bit...
that he's putting in a tremendous effort.
Yeah, I mean, you managed to get a dot there while still remaining the the whites of the eye.
Yeah.
So that's
Or yellows in this
or
case.
the yellows. So that's a tremendous
Yeah, no, I think look,
achievement. Achievement is the word.
So look, this one's got directionality as well. I think he's putting in a tremendous effort.
Yeah.
And you know, I take a look at it, and I have to say, you know, like I think he's really pushing himself.
I think he's trying that sort of underpainting technique a bit here with like the.
And some of the times he is very much fighting the model. Like, look at this guy. This guy is.
He's got a tomato nose.
He is he's not the best sculpt in the world.
I like this one.
This sculpt is nice, but I think you can tell that this guy is not a part of the same series of sculpts. Well, like, he doesn't look it, does he? Compared to, like, this one. This one and the first one we saw.
Had a bit of concern.
Yeah, well, like, look at her, right? And sort of her little piece here, right? Then let's go over to, like, this guy. See, he's got that same sort of trim there. Then, are we going to get back to the first one? Yeah, so, and then we take a look at him. And he's got that same sort of bold trim on the edges of his vestments and stuff.
Yeah, all right.
So I think that other guy
he does look to be a different set from the rest of these.
Yeah, because you see this one here and that other one seem to match more. But, like...
The rest of these have a very characteristic with the way the face was sculpted and everything.
Like that poor guy. But anyway, I think he's been putting in a lot of effort. I also noticed that he's putting a bit more into the bases and such. But yes, I think it's time we move on. All right.
Jose.
All right. So, would you like to read out as we look at things?
Almost done. I think it's just the good A and those damn light flares. Then I can add them to the finishing touches tray and move to new minis. I finally finished playing Wave 1 of Aeon Trespass. I have some issues with the balance of the game. I gave in and made my own heroic mode for Cycle 3, but they made a really good finale for the box. The ending for that will stand out as special and unique for me for many years to come. I can't discuss it because of spoilers, but wow, amazing moment. Now I just need Wave 2 to show.
So, I think that the cat still my favorite here. I don't know what this thing over here is with the shine on it though.
It's a gun.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's a weapon of some sort.
Yes.
That shoots things at high velocities.
No, I don't think it is. I think that it's something else.
You think it's like one of those hand axes?
Excuse me, folks. Alright.
Do you think it's a hand axe of some sort?
I've got no idea. Like, it almost looks like a sandwich to me, but I guess that...
A sandwich?
Like, on a stick or something, but like...
Sandwich on a stick.
But I don't know what it is.
That's gonna be
it might be the fact that we're getting closer to needing to finish soon because the hunger is taking me.
Taking him away. The cheddar cheese of her scarf. But yeah, I think it's coming along pretty nice. I'm trying to find if there's anything new that he's done with them that I haven't noticed.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty much the same.
Are those thigh-high shoes that the yellow sash lady is wearing meant to be that new color? Because does look a bit odd.
I see what
You
you're
get what I mean?
saying. Yeah, no, it's very much like the leggings with our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what he does.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we will be moving on to.
This is your one.
All right. Good evening, all. Thursday night, daytime. I finished an
Pen paint.
end painting.
Pen.
You know what? I've
You
got
should
lost.
read it with all the grammatical.
No, look, I don't read mine with grammatical errors. I try not to be a dick.
Well, it's just funny.
You can read it now. You're the
No!
joke. Yes. The time has passed. This is what happens when you tease people. Please. Very well. Painting all these dudes to go with the tanks. And the 20 I have done for 2 years. In total, I've just finished painting 66 guys, I think. I guess I should have counted them. Laughing. 5 units of 10. 4 Voxcasters. 5 plasma guns. 5 melter guns. 5 command, and a leader. So, 70 in total. We'll count in the morning. I have set myself the challenge to paint my 1,000 points before the end of March. And I feel I have done the hard part. Now next up, some bits of other people, then 3 tanks.
Hooray!
Alright, now you have to do the commentary. Yes.
But you're the man.
I see what he's done. So with these guys, he's given them all sort of like a color scheme within the color scheme. You see what I'm
Are
saying?
you talking about like the blue guys, blue-headed sort of dudes?
Yeah, blue, oranges.
Orange.
You know, so they're all Talon Desert Raiders, but like so the command squad has a bit of a purple theme. And it seems that everybody else sort of has their own thing. So these guys are red over here. I really just want to see them close up because maybe just the command squad is super characterful and everybody else looks more like
and they've got
actual army guys.
And they've got their own tags of like to show what group they're on.
Yeah. So I think this looks really good. I'm looking forward to it.
I like looking at the tank.
Yes, the tanks do look very nice. And I think it is a very sort of cool combo the army has. You know, mechanized infantry. Alright, so next up, I just love that Lance put this one on with the grandpa picture. I don't know why.
That's his avatar, like it's an iPhone feature.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's just like, you know...
Correction. I did 4 gnomes and 3 goblins.
And it's just... I just found it so...
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. Alright, would you like to read out the next post?
Yes. Next batch of fun, all very old rats, 43 plus years, and some newer pieces in resin, a snake all lion enshrined from Forge of Ice. Forge of Ice?
Yeah, so I think that this snake line thing looks very cool. I very like the colors.
Yeah, I think it's also because he's sort of, again, we talk about this in the color harmony video.
Cool to warm.
It's about how you place the colors.
Yeah.
So you've got the red next to the yellow, next to the green, which follows the rainbow's order.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks very nice and cohesive and everything sort of blends nicely.
And that eye doesn't look quite black, but almost purple.
Let me take a look. Oh, yeah. I see that purple, with a little bit of like a yellow iris kind of thing.
I think that's meant to be just... I think that's just a reflection, so it's a reflection of the yellow light.
You think?
Yes. But I tell you what, things have come a long way. Like, for example, these rats are kind of rat-shaped, but you take a look at how things have evolved over the years. But I think he did a really good job with them because they have a very nice look to them. I also like
it refuses to focus on the
No.
rats.
But
Oh my god, what is this?
which one? This one?
This one and this one.
This one, I think this one looks kind of like an opossum. You know how they always look absolutely tragic? You look at them and you're like...
It looks like it's got a human face sort of morphed into something odd.
Yes, it does. Odd is a fair descriptor. Odd is a fair descriptor.
This one too. But the other two look like proper rats.
Yeah. It is quite funny the way they do look.
It is very silly looking.
But I think all of this looks good. Smashed out some more tabletop level stuff. But despite the fact that it's tabletop level, I actually really like this this guy.
I really do.
I think they just absolutely fantastic.
It's got that. It looks just like a fossil.
Yeah.
With all those micro veining and I don't know how.
Well, no, I think those are scribblings. So somebody's carved symbols into it and such.
No, I mean in the texture of the skull, the overall texture.
No,
of the skull.
look. So
Yeah, I can see the very obvious scribblings.
Yeah,
but I mean
over the
skull.
You mean right in here and stuff where it's not. Yeah.
Very,
fair enough.
Very texture.
Yeah, no. All right, and then finally
we've got James.
James has finally finished up his guys from the week. And they're so very colourful. I really like that. I do think those rims want another coat on them, but I understand you're doing a million guys.
I do think that Doctor Strange's shoe is matching too much with that the symbol.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It could do either
a
going
brown, wildwood contrast.
No, or he could use a Sharpie bone to bring it up enough. No? She's shaking her head like I farted.
No.
That's what you were doing.
I think that idea's great for the token that he's standing on, the symbol.
Oh, okay.
But the shoe, it really wants a dark brown. A wildwood brown contrast.
Well, I do think that I like that, but I think that the tentacles should be a more saturated green.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything else there is such high saturation. And also, I think with his face, it could use with another pass of the wash that he's used. Yeah. I feel the same with I want
the Red Witch.
Yes, the Red Witch
or Scarlet Witch. Something like
that. But yeah, no. Her name's Wanda, right?
Yeah, Wanda.
Yeah. I was gonna call her Wakanda, and I'm like Wakanda forever over here, and I'm like that's not right. Yeah.
Same correct universe, but wrong character.
Yes.
Well, she's not a character, it's a place.
Yeah, and I'm just like no.
Not right.
But I tell you what, I think this one's come out the best of all of them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I do think the rubble, I think they just want some pink powder. I think that would really help. But the capes have come up quite nicely, I think. But just trying to make sure that everything gets smashed out quite nicely. Yeah. But hopefully we will be able to get James on at a later date to talk about his stuff. So would you like to read Alex Coe's one? And while that's happening, I'll see if anything new has come up before the end.
So, I haven't actually touched my squig yet. I've been too busy printing like a fiend and painting up these houses.
Mm-hmm.
Just finished the roof of that in this morning at around 3:30 a.m. Okay, what you doing at that time of day, my dude?
He's probably tired.
What you doing?
Tired of all your commentary.
Oh, and I already have another one on the way. I estimate I'll have roughly 8 to 10 by the time I'm done. Ooh, lots of houses. They look like the dungeons and
They do look a little bit like the Dungeons and Lasers houses, don't they? Yeah, just a bit.
A different edition?
No, they're not. They're printed houses. He printed
They
them.
printed these?
Yeah.
Oh, so
look,
good.
he showed. Look, shows him.
What is this printer? FDM?
Yeah, FDM.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think they've come up very nicely. I don't think that they're anything spectacular, but that's a lot of the time what terrain should be. Just a background piece for what you're doing. But I tell you what, this looks very imposing.
Because of the black and white, black roof.
No, just because of its size compared to the people.
Yeah.
But I think, like, if this was Mordheim, all of this would be broken up and destroyed so that people could get inside and such.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
it's just like a scattered terrain.
No, it's not scatter terrain. It's actual terrain. Scatter terrain is the small pieces of terrain.
Oh.
Alright, but yeah, no, I think it's looking very nice. There's not much I have to say on it because, like, it is just sort of classic terrain, like, nice bright colours for the roof, timbers, and then just some grey stone. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not giving a hard time or anything like that. I'm just saying
terrain.
Yeah, I'm saying it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But it looks like you've gotten two.
I don't know why it duplicates.
Yeah, it does.
It does do that some of the time.
Yeah, it does. It does. All right, so shall we?
There's one more upstairs.
No, it's. Oh!
I told you. Don't believe anything I say.
Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Double Poster. No one can believe you anymore. All right, so would you like to read out the post?
I read. Say, Uriel Virtus ready for action.
Ventress.
That's Virtus.
Oh, it does say Virtus, but maybe it's a different character. I think this is meant to be Uriel Ventress. And anyway, continue.
It was a nice palette change after all that gold and red from Custodes. I still think heroes should always wear helmets. Perhaps.
I have to completely disagree because it's not the reality of this situation that we're portraying. It's you know, we're showing like a painterly version. We're showing like these are the heroes of the Imperium. We're telling stories.
Yeah.
We're not.
I think because if he has a name, he's got to have so that you can put a name to the face.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But I tell you what, it is absolutely beautiful, very clean.
Oh, look at the sky.
And also the eyes are quite clean. But I do think the back of the cape needs some work.
Yeah, I
so,
do see some tide marks pooling.
Yeah, with the back of it, yeah. So there's some tide marks and pooling, which, like, easy fixes. But I think just that sort of takes away from the crispness and cleanness of everything else. Because everything else is so crisp and clean, and I like it. I like how it's been highlighted. Very, very classic GW, the way that it's done, you know? Like, all of it, like, there's also the lightnings come out very nicely.
But I'm not sure why the sword's looking so...
I think this is, like, so this is meant to be the sort of power end of it. And up here is sort of like the sort of standard shining steel sort of thing.
Yeah, but it does look great.
I don't know. I like the story that it tells. Like, that he has like this very fantastical sword. Right? I think this model, I very much like it. But I do think that the cape needs work.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I look at it this way, I'm like, magnifique. Perfect. Just right. Then I take a look at the back and I'm just like, just a little more effort on that end. But other than that, I think absolutely perfect. So, what I would like to talk about at the end here is this. There was so many entries to this Throwback Thursday. And what I want to say is this, right? when I took a look at all of these things, I think this is very much the spirit of this place. It's about the journey that you're on, right? That's what WAYPN's about, because it's about the now, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you can't look back. Doesn't mean that you can't look into the past and celebrate it as well. But also use it as a reference point, because a lot of the time we look back and we just go, oh, oh, it was so terrible. Don't look at it as I was so terrible. Look at it as, look how much I've grown. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that will be all for us this week, unless you've got something that you want to add. Oh, Raven, so like orc skin, bright green for the tentacles? Yes, that is what I would say. But ladies and gentlemen, we are sort of tapping out on these ones because we have got so much work that we have been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and keep those brushes wet. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.